All right. So during our conversation, I found out here that you are have extensive experience, 30 years with the FBI hostage negotiation team.
Right.
And I see that on your shirt, which I love. And so I want to understand from a hostage negotiation standpoint, how, I should say, what advice would you give the average real estate agent as we are negotiating with our clients and with another agent? So is there any insights of any kind that you can think of? Anything that's applicable from a life or death situation to a situation that we have with clients in our little world that we live in?
Well, one of the things that they teach at the academy about hostage negotiation is they make what's an easy assumption. They make the assumption that the person holding hostages is emotionally upset. So you could say that people who are about to make probably the largest investment in their entire lifetime have a degree of emotionality attached to that. And if you think of a seesaw, and on one side of the seesaw is emotionality, and on the other side of the seesaw is rationality, this is what happens. If emotionality goes up, rationality goes down. When rationality comes up, emotionality goes down. People make better decisions when rationality dominates. So I would imagine you run into that situation trying to sell real estate where people are making decisions based on heightened emotionality when you really want them to make the decision based on rationality. And what we think in hostage negotiation is people who take hostages, first off, are not the brightest bulbs in the pack, because you never get away with it. It's kind of like robbing banks.
You're telling me no one's ever gotten away with it?
No, nobody has gotten away with, what they want is the helicopter and the $1 million and a ticket to Cuba or something like that. Hardly ever happens. There's rarely a happy outcome of a hostage barricade situation. So you don't have real smart people to begin with. Well, one of the things we know for sure is that when you get emotional, you lose IQ points. If you start off with an IQ that's only about 85, low average, and then you're really in an emotional whirlpool, you're raging and angry and frightened, et cetera, you're going to lose another 15 points. Your IQ is going to really start to sink. So one of the goals of the negotiator is to help the guy get smarter by calmly talking to him, bringing the emotionality down, and the rationality will go up. So I would say that would be one thing that you could possibly have in the back of your mind.
Bring them back into reality.
Bring them back into reality, because they'll get smarter and make more realistic decisions.
And so I think when I hear that, as someone that's done this for all these years in real estate as a realtor, I feel like I want to bring them back to the decision when I talk about the difference here is potentially very small. The amount of money we're speaking of is relatively small, right? We know we want this home and get them back into reality. I know one of the words I was originally coached is I stop referring to it as their home when I'm selling it, and I switch it to house. There's all these little trigger words that we have in our vocabulary that we switch to get people to become emotionally detached from the product that we're trying to sell and get them focused to instead think of it as a logical transaction.
Yeah, as an investment, as something that will pay off for them in multiple different ways by where the neighborhood is located, et cetera, et cetera.
That's interesting. And when I've been speaking to you, I don't want to flex and try to act as if I'm smarter than the other agent, or I'm going to teach them how to behave. In our world, I see ego pop up a lot.
Yeah.
And other agents think what we do somehow is so magically important. And I remind them, we're considered one of the lowest professions to possibly have. When every study that comes out, I don't want to insult any garbage man or woman out there, but we're neck and neck. Used car sales, real estate agent, it's all about the same. So I know my
lawyers.
You were down there with them. Yeah, welcome. And so I try to remind myself that to keep the ego in check and to just be present and non-emotional myself.
Right.
And level. So I thank you for that. Anything else you could think of to add? Or is that the biggest piece you could think of?
Well, I'll maybe come up with something 3:00 in the morning, but that's it for now.
I expect a text at that point.